Evening all, welcome back to Aquilo as we look down on the frozen tundra that is the ammonia planet. We can only come to two conclusions: that it sucks, well, it sucks, and I hate it here. No, I don't at all. I had fun. I had serious fun with this place. I really did enjoy this place quite a bit, actually. I thought it was a huge amount of fun, really, because it's a different mechanic to Gleba. Gleba was very annoying and really finished me off mostly, so I quite enjoyed it, and I think this is why I'm quite excited to show you this base. So let's talk about our principles. So we had a number of design principles, which were wanting to have a heated grid system. I like grid systems. It makes perfect sense to me to have everything ordered and structured quite nicely. Oh, hang on, something's blowing up. What's blowing up? Oh, dearie me. I'm losing legendary stuff. Oh, my days. What is happening? What is happening? That's not good. I don't know why it does this. Every so often, it feels as if the guns stall. Problem to solve that. I'm not going to worry about that right now. If we lose that ship, we lose that ship. I want to replace it, and this is a complete aside. Look at the splendor. Look at the beauty. I think the only word to describe this would be majestic. Look at it. It's a big hexagon flinging through space. I love it. I think this is my favorite ship I've ever designed. It's not really Aquilo. Is it Aquilo? No, it's not really, because it's got no... Oh, it does have rockets. Oh, yes, it's my Aquilo ship. Again, further proof that something is very much wrong with me. Anyway, Aquilo base. Let's talk about our design principles. It was to create autonomy, simplicity, designed to have something a bit more kind of pretty, because Aquilo's spaghetti before was a bit of a mess. You may have seen it in the last video. What we have created here does feel like an oil rig to me. I have a friend of mine who works on the oil rigs. To say that he is a manly man would not be an understatement. I am a 6'3" and a bit tall person. He's like 6'9", and whenever he comes into a room, everyone just turns and looks at him, and he's a bit of a bro. And it's cool, really, because he works on the rigs because A, quote, it's good money, and B, I think he's just one of those people that no matter what job he did, it would have to be something insanely manly man. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got one of those friends who works in a wood mill and rips logs apart with their hands. And I think that's kind of the sort of people that I'm not. I work in computers, and I obviously have not really ripped many woods apart in my days. So, yeah, there we go. Anyway, so this was designed to be something that would heat autonomously. Let's start with design principle number one. This you see here is a thing of beauty. It is effectively an automated fuel cell machine that basically just creates fuel. It works by obviously dredging, splitting out ice. Ice is then destroyed. You can use ice further down, so we use it here to do a few more bits, but generally just destroy things you don't need. If it's infinite, you don't need it. That's the way I look at it, is you can always replace it and put it somewhere else. It creates ammonia, which then is mixed with crude oil and then creates solid fuel, which you then turn with water into rocket fuel. So these then get dumped onto a long conveyor belt, and you see it's been dumped into these towers and then these and so on. So you see it all goes all the way down the line, and that means, if I just zoom out, all of this area is heating these pipes in that direction. Every corner has one of these, and it's working pretty well. I've not had any freezings yet at all, and it's worked quite well. But anyway, let's stay on target. So first things first, it was this grid structure. Completely, again, I don't plan these things. They're completely arbitrary. So here we have another example of our smelting. It kind of just happened to work out. So you see here, it's not quite right. I think I wish I've pushed it out another cell, but you have to go with something and stick with it. I think that is, decision paralysis is a problem, and I think I struggle from that at times. So this is why just going with something and seeing if it worked was not a bad thing. Turns out this little grid structure here is pretty good. Yes, this is all in a blueprint, and yes, you can have it. I will share it. But that really was the genesis of it, was this one here. So it's just it was worked out on the basic of a normal, whatever they're called. What are they called? Substation. So the normal substation area is as you see there. So I just thought, let's go with that. And it's kind of worked. I'm quite happy with it. So we then have various things. So we have, before we go to the more complex things, let's talk about obviously then Our base here is picking up iron, so this is where we're pulling iron from space. You may remember Project, what's it called? Snowflake. Project Snowflake is very different. Look at it. Look at its beauty and splendor. This, this has been a bit of a labor of love. Now, you can spot it, right? You can spot the little kind of Nemo fin of it, right? You get it? You get what I mean by that? Is unfortunately, the way the game works is it's limited on how much space ahead of, I guess, that thing you can go. So this thing can go left and right and down, obviously all the way, and we can even add more. So this is one of the nice things about this, is if we wish to, we could even go down here and so on, and we can go blah 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 blah. So, but we can't go there. See that? It's literally saying no, you shall not pass. No further shall you go. So that sucks. So we might just leave it as a sort of retarded fin. That's not an insult, by the way, just to be very clear. When I say the R word, that is actually what you mean to say, because it has been retarded by the fact that it's not able to be fully developed. Oh my God, I'm going to get cancelled again. Well, so here we go. So this is basically the base that is producing everything. We've moved things like oil, so we now have all of the petroleum goodness. We're going to make plastic here, just not got around to it yet. We're going to move our rocket production there, iron there, copper there, and probably these things will expand further as well. So if I kind of just show you what I mean, so we're probably going to have one here, one there, one there, and one there. So it'll be a beautiful hexagon within many hexagons, and I like it. So that is feeding this main landing pad with pretty much all the resources we could possibly need. Well, not quite, but it will. The landing pad was an interesting one because obviously you've got to go with something that works, but within our heated grid structure, we still needed these things, the ability to obviously pass out, you know, calcite, iron, copper, etc. So again, this took a bit of working out, but it's kind of worked. So you see here, it's being pushed out to there, that's being pushed out there, and then it's basically going up into our structure. Same with copper, and then the same with sulfur. Once we get our plastic line up and running, this will then be driven from there. So it's pretty, right? I quite like that. I think I'm quite partial to the sort of logistic hub right next to it as well. We've gone with legendary robot ports just because it charges everything better. And I would say so far, so good. So it's working quite well. So iron, copper, and they're producing onto a bus. We then have our LDSs, so we're not really I mean, we could put them on a thing. We probably will actually. We'll put them on another conveyor belt all the way down to the rocket silos. So you see we have 4 at the moment. This is going to be upgraded to 8, and I think we'll bung them over here probably, but at the moment there's no need. But this is again working very well. We have our usual detectors here, so we can see when we're running low, and as you can see we're doing really well on resources. So that's that. We have the minibus. Minibus. It kind of works. It I guess, you know, it's not exactly perfect, so I think there's a little bit of spacing I need to sort out, but I like the idea you have these heated pipes between each of them. It makes them look rather nice. We have our ice platform production here. Again, all of this is wonderfully blueprinted, infinitely separate, because the idea is you can pretty much just plug and play all these things. I think the only thing, does this need anything? I don't think it does. I think they're all, oh, oil, there you go. So oil is obviously quite central to a lot of these, but otherwise you're pretty much free to put them anywhere. I did realise that fusion power is obviously the way forward, but it's always good just to have a backup. You can't do solar power on Aquilo because it literally gets less sun than Skegness. So the only thing really you can do is have some sort of steam turbine that it's not breaking the world, but it's just going to keep like arms moving, maybe. So again, this is all infinitely scalable. So I think as long as we have just a water source from above, we could put another one of these somewhere here. So we will do that. But again, you see the premise. It's kind of like making each cell individual, wonderfully set up. You know, I do like it. I think it looks really nice. We'll talk about the grid structure in just a moment, because I think that's something we need to think about, is how do we want the lighting system to work, and I'll show you that in just a moment. Because I think there's a bit of thought around that. Red, amber, green, but then at night it's blue. Anyway, we'll come back to that. We have chip production, so again, basic simple stuff. Currently I've got some weird modules in here. I need to update these because, to be honest, I don't think they're really needed. But as you can see, we're producing in such epic quantities. It's not actually a problem. Why am I seeing something? Oh yeah, so we're piggybacking that in with plastics. Then we need more plastic at the moment, but that's obviously red chips, then blue chips. That's all worked quite well. We're then producing our fluoroketone. It sounds like an 80s indie band, doesn't it? This is working again quite well. This had huge issues because obviously one of the things that we have to do, a little bit of bot here, not too much, where lithium is being produced here. And I kind of messed up because I knew that actually, well, I created this first so we could obviously just put the lithium onto a belt into here to make our lithium plate, and then they go off into obviously science production. But I realized actually for the hot fluoroketone, we need to do that over here. So it's probably one of the only areas other than rockets where we have a bit of bot work. But again, it's fine, it works. So that's quite good. So, and then we have our cooling. So we have our cooling of the hot fluorotone, and that's obviously producing this. We then have our lithium brine pumps. These are just because they're still here. They're almost done. So what we're going to do is move to these. So we'll do those eventually. But at the moment, I've tried to not do an elevated railway because there's just no need. So yeah, for now, we'll leave it as it is. Again, you can see every cell is just for one machine, more or less, as you can see, and it works well. I like it a lot. We have our fusion cell production, so this is obviously quite key. Probably the most important factory on this entire planet is bottling up the cold fluoroketone. And as you can see, we put sensors pretty much everywhere to tell us when some of these things go down. So we need to know, because most of our things are fueled by fusion now, so we need to be very aware if they're going to be a problem. Oh, did it make it back to... Let's have a look. I'm just going to quickly recover this. Yeah, it made it to Nauvis and it repaired itself. I don't get why it blew up. I don't get that. So let's just do some quick remedial work. This is what I did on another ship and it seemed to solve it. So let's just build these. So just a quick aside. There we go. So that just gives it more things. So that's fine. Okay, so where are we now? So we now have our science production. So science production on this planet, again, looks a bit spaghetti-y, but it kind of works. Because it seems you don't use an awful lot of Aquilo science. Maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't feel like you do. So here we have 4 science, basically. Again, you can see how I've done it. I've just basically created a blueprint, and then I've just rotated it. Beautiful, beautiful stuff, and it kind of works. So this again is just producing onto a belt because I didn't want to have bots do this. I mean, it eventually just plops out here. Bots can do the final bit. I'm okay with that. I want to try and put everything relatively near the rockets to save them a bit of hurt. So that's that. Then we have our quantum chips. Again, I just doubled this up, so again, just a blueprint copied across, and you can see there's a little bit of disruption here to the heating grid. I am not pleased with this. In fact, I don't even know why I've got it, because look at that, I don't need it. Wow, that was stupid, wasn't it? Yeah, I don't even need that one either. Goodness me, what has happened? Chaos has come to town because I need that one, so okay, that's fine. But the idea is every single cell should be sacrosanct. And at the moment, obviously, there's only a few places where I just couldn't be bothered to do it anymore, so I just gave up. But it's kind of working. Then there's a few cells here that are not really usable at the moment. So then we move to the most important cell, which is our fusion reactor. This is take 1 of our fusion reactor. And just the way I'd like to kind of introduce this is how a dummy does a fusion reactor. This is a stupid man's fusion reactor, aka me. Because I don't know why, but it makes no sense. So you have fluid going into one that then turns into plasma that then is ejected as hot fluid, and then it goes into here and then goes back on the other side. So it's constantly balancing back and forward. This is stupid. This is so stupid. It's like, political party manifesto level stupid. It is ridiculous. So I've kept it for now just to show you my shame, and I will hang my head in shame. I turn my back, because that is just terrible. It is literally not good design. So we've gone with actually an offshore one. Because again, I was watching some really interesting sci-fi. I couldn't even tell you what it was because it was like Bulgarian or something. And it was it was really good because for some reason they had these kind of giant or orbital power grids. But what they'd done is they'd built them miles away from where actually they were doing. And I thought, oh, that's a good idea. I like that. So I think we're going to go with this, which is a kind of, I don't know how you put that. You kind of like a platform, a plinth-based fusion reactor here. So I like this. This is quite nice. This is actually going to be a design that we'll stick with moving forward. We'll probably just get rid of this and just build a couple of these around because they're just not needed. So there we go. So I think that kind of then takes us to the final bits, which is really just then what else are we doing with this grid? So really it's things like, we're producing, I've just realised we're producing 2 of these. I don't think I need that one now. We'll probably get rid of that one. But we're producing our fusion reactors. So here at the moment we're producing whatever we produce. This is incredibly wasteful, I know, but I don't care. I'm just putting the normal ones back into the system. Same here. So let's just put the normal ones back into the recycled. I know this is a shocking waste of resources and you're probably hammering your keyboard now. Cheeto dust is flying because you're like, dude, what are you doing? You're an idiot. I know, but I'm okay with it because I think kind of what I like to do is to really destroy things. And I think, I had like 2 full chests of fusion reactors and I want like better ones. I don't want the basic ones. I want the good ones. So I'm cool with this. And what we're doing with all the better upgraded parts is we're sending them back to Nauvis to help us build things like the fusion generators. The other ones, the ones you put on your suit, them ones, the fusion reactor. So post in the comments, tell me what an imbecile monkey man I must be, because that is obviously just a shocking waste of resources. But yeah, I'm okay with it. And you may notice the absence of something, which is rail guns. I've not bothered with railguns, mostly because for about 200 hours that I've been playing this save, I left a railgun factory running with quality modules in. And needless to say, I have everything up to epic now. And I'm not too worried. I don't mind not having legendary railguns at this moment. We'll probably come back when we feel the time is right to do that. But at the moment, I just don't see the point because I've got like 200 epic, 100. I mean, how many rockets it must have used to get to space, because one railgun takes 1 rocket to get into orbit. So on my days, literally, it's going to be a huge amount of rockets that I've wasted there as well. So that is our Aquilo base. The last thing to talk about is the traffic light system. So the idea is that we have effectively a traffic light system which just says the cell is done. So where it's blue, that means it's complete. And you can see there's a sort of logic, a very basic logic going on here. I'm not sure why that's that color. That looks like there's something wrong. So we'll have a look at that one. But you can see it's kind of designed that, it brings a bit of perspective to it. I can see there's a few errors here because that should be blue. So let's just fill that in. You can see it kind of works. And here we have another one. So that's complete, but these 2 aren't. You see we've got a few more accumulators to pop in there. We do have another fluoro. What's it? Oh no, this is the other one. What is it? What is this? Fluorine. So fluorine has actually run out. So we had to extend very slightly here. One thing that I'm curious about, if I just go on my little merry trip down here, is we have the beginnings of our elevated rail down to this particular location where there is lithium brine. I guess I'm just going to have to make another heating system here. Oh, what's going on there? The color, there's been a change. There we go. So if I just show what I mean, so we're going to have to do things like, build a heating grid here and then dredge and start that whole process here. So that'll be something, again, I'll probably do. But as you can see, we've been exploring. There's not a lot here. And I think this is why Aquilo to me feels a little bit like it might be done soon, because I can't really think of much reason to stay here and do much more. And I think when it comes to our snowflake base, again, I'm very proud of this thing. As you can see, we've extended it and it's now, well, it's just, I mean, again, the word majestic is overly used and bandied about, but I think we could all agree that this is rather majestic, and I just love it. I think it works really well. It's very slow. That's what I would say about this base. It's just so effing huge, but yet it works and it's kind of producing things, and I'm quite happy with it so far. But I think we need to finish it off. So I think plastic, I think moving things around. We're probably going to make some things in orbit as well. So this eventually will become, well, a fully operational base. And then what we're going to do is we're going to strap engines to it and see if we can actually make it a supply ship. You know, one of those mega super star destroyer style bases that just goes, you know, planet to planet, and then it's in orbit producing everything, and it'll drop it down when you need it. I mean, that is like amazing. So I can't wait to do that. I'm so excited to do that. But there we go. So hopefully you enjoyed what is a very interesting build. Post in the comments, let me know your thoughts, and yeah, we'll see you next time.